Oh, hello there. It is the Side Quest. We are on the other end of the spooky season. We're now in the cheery season of the Side Quest of the world of gaming. And I'm one of your hosts, Dolly 1000, 10,000. Did I have 10,000% Lions boy because my team won again. Joining me is this chair chat. You know what? I'm gonna repost that video. Trust me. Joining me as usual, the one, the only, the underscore double underscore J, aka JJ.
I was gonna change my X log just to like gaslight people, really. Just like change it up. It's like what are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about?
Who?
It's double J85. What the fuck are you saying?
We are you could find us on Blue Sky. That's where I've actually been there a lot more than I've been on X, which is pretty. Hey, my team did great today. How did your Seattle team do? I see you wearing the jersey.
Same as usual. Bad.
It's wonderful that how the turntables have. Sam
has been perfectly fine for several seasons. What do
that's
you mean
true.
tables?
That's
the
true.
Seahawks have been garbage for like 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah, we've been garbage for 65 years. Sam, you are not garbage. You are just wonderful. How you do, my friend?
Oh, I'm so good. I'm back here to remind everybody to set their alarmos back an hour.
There he goes.
Did that.
That would be super funny if Nintendo didn't build in like automatic daylight savings time. It'd be like Super Nintendo to just
if I could jump into football talk for a second. Hey Sam, how's your team doing? I had to look it up because he doesn't follow football at all anymore because he no longer is in college. And great news, my team lost to Dally's team apparently today. So hey, sick.
That's what's
my
all
team
about, baby.
Look it up. Do your research. All right.
Yeah, do your research. If you're into cheese, then you'll know. Yeah. You know what? It's game time. First of all, find us over at sidequesting.com, YouTube, and Twitch. We're SideQuesting TV. In the Discord, definitely go to the Discord and rate, review, comment, like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. Again, it does matter. I'm sporting those glasses today. I've been wearing these nonstop, I gotta say, and I have a pair of the regular Gunner optics, and these are the Fallout on Prime version of the Gunner optics.
Yeah.
And I just, like I said, I like them. It just the chinciness, the build quality of the nose guard thing is still a little bit of an issue, but overall not bad. I don't think they fit my face very well because my face is pretty weirdly shaped. I'm like Humpty Dumpty's head if he was an egg on an egg. That's really what my face feels like. But so I'm sorry about the glare.
If you took off your Halloween mask, they might fit a little better.
Wow. I was gonna say, I think I've seen a gotcha toy with that exact setup before.
Yeah. That's actually probably pretty true. Gotcha.
Skibbity dally.
Hey,
did you guys see any?
That's something I have not talked to anybody about because I don't think anybody in my real life would want to know about it or would care to look it up.
Toilet?
Yeah. So I'm sure you've all been to the local Walmarts or
and have seen the end cap.
Skibidi toilets, which seems like A, copyright infringement to Gary's mod, and A, Gary's mod, and B, also Valve, which seems like unfair. And also, is Skibidi toilet really is that big that the children are now seeking gotcha boxes of them?
The answer is yes, because the end cap has been absolutely decimated at my Walmart. As we enter the holiday season,
it's chock-a-block full at my place. If you were looking for Skibidi toilets, I could ship them out by the mass quantities. I saw an old man looking at them the other day, just as confused as I was, and I wanted to tell him, "Hey, man, I'm probably the target demo for this, and I still don't get it."
Nah, the Gen Z brain rot is at an impressive level. really. And so
it's just one of those where it's no matter how online you think you are and how worried about how online you think you are, there is still a section of online that you're not even close to aware of. And that's like, that feels like it's next door. It's the house really next door, and I'm not looking over there. I've never once looked out the window.
Yeah,
I don't even know who lives in this house.
Yeah.
I understand the premise of Skibidi Toilet. It's a man in a toilet, and I gotta assume they use Gary's mod or whatever Valve filmmaker to Steam filmmaker to make
Source filmmaker. Yeah,
that's all I got. That's all I know about it.
You don't know what you don't go around singing "Sticking Out Your Gat" for the Rizzler.
I mean, see, and that's the thing is, in theory, I know what all those words together mean, but I do not know it came out of a man that was in a toilet.
But
yeah,
it's no, I'm so terminally online that I just like see something, I recognize it, I may not appreciate it, I may not like it, I may feel deep resentment towards it, but I know it. I know it against my own will most of the time, and I don't even know anyone that's like Gen Z, so this is all my own undoing. Like I've caused this problem I've caused this problem for myself somehow. I'm gonna blame the VTubers, honestly.
That's always fine to blame the VTubers. Yeah, my nephew is a Skibidi Toilet. One of my nephews was a Skibidi Toilet last year for Halloween.
That's how long it's been around? It's been a year now?
It's been a year. I don't even know how. Yeah.
Like, is it like it's the next Fortnite dance, right? Like, instead of seeing kids Fortnite dance on Jumbotrons, we're gonna see kids, I guess, Skibidi Toileting.
Yeah, now that you see grown adults like flossing on like commercials for local mattress stores or whatever, it's like, yeah, okay, the Gen Z needs a new thing.
Take that victory crown and come on down to George's mattress firm.
It's entirely that I'm not making up that either.
Sure. Or you're not. No, I believe it. Would you guys have any interesting costumes for spooky season, I should say?
No, I turned the lights off.
You turned the lights off. You're like,
I was watching my sister's two dogs for the past like 10 days while she went to New Orleans to see Taylor Swift. So my life was hell. With three dogs that didn't really like each other. Just trying to
dog pound.
Just trying to keep things together. There was no way in hell
you could have been a dog walker. What an easy costume you could have been.
Yeah, I there was no way I was going to be able to corral these three dogs. A Great Pyrenees with separation anxiety as a child, rings the doorbell dressed as I don't know, something from Minecraft. I don't know what's the kids
say. We've lived in this town, this neighborhood now for about 3 or 4 years. I'm not sure if it's the third or fourth Halloween we've been here for. But the first like two we tried like real hard. Like the first one, I'm talking like full on set candy bars. I got one of those like give $1 donation like candy boxes to like basically be like take a full size every time. Not a single child. Second year, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just buy like 2 bags of candy and like, keep the stuff I want and dump the stuff I don't want into a bucket, put it outside and be like, take a handful. Put the bucket out. Maybe 2 handfuls were taken. No kid even like upturned it into their own like bag. I was like upset by that. So we shut it down. We just don't supply any to the kids. And then the problem is the next day at work. Like I was on my way home and my mom was like, hey, I just have a bucket full of candy because no one came to my house. And then I had to end up taking that bucket of candy to work. Because it was too much for even one household, 2 adults in it to finish eating. So
there is a drawer in the lab that we just put the Halloween candy in. It's just you pull the drawer out. There's just like all of the Twizzlers and uneaten Skittles and stuff.
All of the Rizzlers.
All of the Rizzlers. keeping the gat in good shape.
I didn't see a single Twizzlers during this Halloween. Not a single one. I brought
all chocolates by us.
Yeah, I brought a bag. I brought a mixed collection of candy to work, and I was confronted because people were upset that I brought not enough normal Kit Kats and brought too many Kit Kat bones, which I believe were just white chocolate.
White chocolate.
And I was like, all right, well, I didn't choose any of this candy. Don't be upset at me. Be upset at, I believe, Hershey, who has the rights to Kit Kat in America.
Okay. Yes, I believe.
Yeah, because it's like Nestle in Europe and Hershey here.
Yeah.
Be mad at them. They think white chocolate's a good idea. It never is.
Ooh, yeah. They have that weird we got the Kit Kats that were the white and white cinnamon.
Oh, those are Ghost Toast.
Yeah, Ghost Toast.
The Ghost Toast aren't so bad. It's the white ones that are like bones and cream or whatever.
And they got the Witch's Brew, which is like a pale green color.
That's
indiscernible flavor. Like
I had a Snickers, like a haunted Snickers that was just a green Snickers. They just went, what if we made the nougat green? Yeah. Hey, that put me off ketchup and mustard forever as a child. Don't put me off Snickers.
The Nickelodeon green and purple.
It was like ketchup and mustard. I forget which was which, but they dyed it green and purple. And I was already a kid on the fringe of liking ketchup and mustard, or like hating ketchup and mustard to begin with. And then they were like, "Hey, what if we really messed it up for you?" And no bueno. Now I'm that guy that has to take an extra 30 seconds at any fast food joint because they have to not put ketchup on it. Which pretty much guarantees I get a fresh sandwich, so that's okay.
I'm repulsed by ketchup. I don't know what it is. I love
it.
I literally, if I taste ketchup, it's not even like I hate tomato sauce or whatever. Just ketchup in particular just activates a repulse.
I'm right there with you, and I'd love to say that it's it's scientifically engineered for you to like it, and it's a perfect chemical balance. But it's like that's not why I hate it, because I'm also the type of guy that's like, I love this instant chocolate chip cookie mix you made. It you can taste the chemicals that make it bind together.
I will still drink a Sunny Delight. That's just pure chemical. But
that thing tastes sharp. That's like, what if you could drink a knife?
Yeah,
Sunny D.
Yeah.
Hey, we played games, right?
Yeah.
News first. I don't know.
No, we're gonna
Halloween's
do news first.
over. It's the
Halloween.
third.
Yeah, I was going to mention
we're doing nudes first. And then
we're doing nudes. Hey, I'm only on here once a quarter, man. I got to get the most out of my.
How much has changed? Yeah. No, I was going to mention that we have a lot of folks in my generation, a lot of parents with kids. So, of course, every house had I think we started the trend in our neighborhood here. Every house had the kid side, the kid table, and then the adult table. Adult table typically had shots and beers and that kind of stuff. So we had Jell-O shots. And one of the houses down the street had butterbeer that they were handing out to some of the neighbors they had made. And then another house had obviously shots of the little bottles of Fireball and whatever. But
it doesn't even have alcohol in it.
Yeah, exactly. And then one house had gummies that they had made, but they were vodka. They were vodka gummies. I'm like, okay, I get it. No problem, vodka gummies. So they were kind of gooey and melty. But then the guy leans over, he goes, "Yeah, but the house behind us has the good gummies." I'm like, next year I'm gonna know where to go. Hey, if you're 21 in Michigan, it's okay. Anyways, we are gonna get into some news. A couple quick little news bites. The first news bite. These are both about kind of couple quirky little things. First one is Nintendo related, and that is Nintendo Music has launched. And I thought this was actually kind of neat. Out of the blue, Nintendo said, "Hey, guess what? Later today, we're going to drop a music app."
It
and
is
they did.
So hard to get legitimate Nintendo music in North America. It's they don't do it. And when they do it, it's always some BS, Club Nintendo nonsense. You have to be one of the first 40 people to pre-order Legend of Zelda to get the soundtrack, or you got to get the Smash Brothers, because they used to release them through Nintendo Power. Like that was the
Sure,
only way to get, like, you want the Donkey Kong Country cassette tape, you gotta go through Nintendo Power. I think I have the Mother 2 soundtrack on vinyl, and that's like, it's the legit Mother 2 soundtrack. That's kind of the only thing that I have from North America that they've officially released since that Smash Brothers.
Sure, yeah.
The Wii one that they like made that you had to like register your game in the first like 2 months of it coming out to be able to get it through Club Nintendo.
So this is pretty neat. It's like a Spotify-ish style app. I mean, they're just kind of getting started with it. There's not a ton of game soundtracks on there just yet, but
spoiler prevention is such a goofy thing, and I love it.
Yeah. So basically, what that is okay. Let me get back to the overall thing because we're watching the video here. We're talking to you have soundtracks from about 20 to 22, 23 games right now. Everything from NES all the way to Switch. A lot of bangers are missing. Hardly any RPGs are in here. I think there's like a Fire Emblem game that's on there as a solo RPG. You have a couple Zelda things in there, or you have like one Splatoon 3 thing. But as you can see here, there's going to be more games, more soundtracks added over time, and it's interesting because they're showing the stuff here. I mean, I'm looking forward to, like, give me Xenoblade soundtracks. Those are great, right? I jammed away to the Animal Crossing New Horizons soundtrack. That mofo is 12 hours long with 400 tracks.
Yeah.
Because there was like, they're all weather, a lot of them were related to weather, they're related to time of day. So that's phenomenal. By the way, Animal Crossing soundtrack, it is ungodly how incredible the music is to Animal Crossing New Horizon and how it's produced. There's a great video out there, and I'll have to find out. I forget where it was.
It's incredible that Nintendo Nintendo mastered what ambiance is in music form.
It
like,
really is. But they have like the Wii Shop channels, the Wii channels. So like Wii Shop music, if you're good for, they're great. The Me Plaza, that kind of stuff. There's a lot.
And there's an option where you can extend it out for 1 whole hour.
Yes, so not every song has it, but yeah, you can hit the button and it'll extend it for a whole hour.
The songs that are designed to be played on a loop.
The Wii Shop music can go for an hour, which is great, and then hit that loop button. But they're designed in ways where you can loop them, some overworld music and things like that. So it's great. You can just have the Zelda music overworld.
It's cool to go into like Ocarina of Time because like you can just have all of the tracks there, but then they have like individual playlists for certain things. Like they just have a play. Oh, you just want to hear the Ocarina songs? We just have a playlist of all the Ocarina songs. Here you go. And it's like, it's neat. It's like the way they sort of like parsed things out is kind of above and beyond what I would expect Nintendo to have done for this. But it's also incredibly Nintendo at the same time somehow.
Very much so,
It feels kind of weird that they would be releasing stuff over time, but seeing how they're like breaking things up and making it like these fully searchable, like, extendable, all this type of stuff, like and getting there with this, that it's, it makes sense that we're breaking it down by games.
Also you got to keep in mind that this is directly tied to you having a Nintendo
absolutely
Switch Online. So as long as they as long as your brain tells you, well, they're going to be adding to it, it'll be like, well, I might as well just resubscribe again.
It's like how they function with their other Switch Online things. They're just constantly adding. It's like over time here, we'll do this. Like they just released the Super Mario Brothers Wonder soundtrack, which is pretty nice. A couple days ago, and they're going to be having them. I wouldn't be. I mean, monthly, obviously, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little quicker than that too. But it's just nice to have this music all in one spot. Like, forgot how good the Fire Emblem Blazing Blade with the Game Boy Advance music. I forgot how good that was. And there's like
world is missing.
Well, they're missing
my only complaint.
Yes. So, like the Mario game, they have 2 Super NES games, and one is
Yoshi's Island.
Yoshi's Island and Donkey Kong Country, which is like, hey, they're both good, but they're not the ones that I would have chosen. However, I do believe, this is Nintendo. I think we're gonna get like third-party soundtracks on here. We're gonna get a bunch of other things. I mean, give me those 16-bit Final Fantasy soundtracks. Give me the Smash Brothers soundtrack.
I don't think they're going to do that because they make a lot of money with the streaming rights that they have on Spotify.
We'll get Sonic the Hedgehog soundtracks is what we will get. The Sega Master System version.
They did a good job of using the sort of games and titles series to launch the idea and kind of get it in front of them. Sure, get it in front of people and see how people use it. Potentially this means or doesn't mean at all because it's Nintendo that this could be coming to the Switch or the Switch later.
That was my next question: is why is this not on the Switch? It feels like it should be perfect for the Switch, right?
Well,
I'd have it playing in the back. I have these as my.
Remember Nintendo used to do it with the DS all the time, where they would have Tetris DS has a jukebox mode where you could actually close it and it kept the music playing in the jukebox.
Well, there is that other, what was it there's that sign up
can do it on the Switch too.
Yeah, there was that sign up and then I guess test. I know there was some leaks of it or whatever. Nintendo Online test. So it feels like there is like the potential that more Nintendo Online stuff at either subscriber level or whatever is coming. But maybe and maybe this is something that comes to the consoles, but we're waiting for more of it to come ready to or be ready for consoles or whatever.
Part of me also has this idea, this nefarious idea that this is somehow just makes it much easier for Nintendo to copyright strike people streaming their games because they have all of their music released digitally. You're undercutting them by.
So, really quickly, we'll transition over to that just real briefly. So it was called Rockstock, and that was the downloadable app that 10,000 people got in. None of us got into it, and it's like this Minecrafty social building, excavating event thing, and I'm not sure. Like it's still rough. Like visually, they're just trying to make sure that this thing works with massively. It's a big MMO. They're trying to get as many people on there as possible at the same time. It's Nintendo, so it's not going to be super complex, but
it's the missing gap in sort of the Nintendo portfolio. One of those ongoing social building games like Roblox or Minecraft or Fortnite to an extent.
It's funny because JJ, you and I thought this was just going to be the streaming. Like we had a couple of weeks back, we're like, it's just going to be a streaming version of their NES. Instead of 15 different apps for all the different consoles, we're just going to do one big stream. Nope, it wasn't that.
That's actually a game.
It's actually a game.
Nintendo publicly testing a game.
Yeah.
It's kind of fascinating.
So all this is really interesting. It's really weird because Switch 2 is obviously going to be announced before. Like by the end of March, right? We already know that it's going to be announced. I mean, they mentioned it's coming. A lot of people thought it was going to be. Remember, it's coming in September. We're going to get the announcement in September, and all September. It's this month. Then all October. It's definitely coming October. We're going to get announced. Didn't show up in October. Yeah. Now I'm hearing it's definitely going to be announced in November. This ain't going to be. Yeah. You're not going to hear anything until January at the earliest, and that may just be a stay tuned. We're going to have something in March type of thing. The Nintendo has their company what do they call it, their investor relations thing. I think it's tomorrow if I remember correctly, or no, it's the 5th, so it would be tomorrow night for us. So Tuesday morning, so in Japan. They're doing, they have pushed out a lot of news over the last week, right? They have this, they have that online thing that they're working on. They got Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is coming in March. We also know they have Metroid 4 coming early next year. They have Donkey Kong Country. They've got quite a bit of stuff happening just in that first quarter alone. I'm assuming that first quarter is also where we're going to hear more about this playtest thing potentially. There's still a lot of weirdly life left in this Switch's ecosystem, and we still don't get the ports that everybody wants. Like everybody wants the Zelda ports, and those probably aren't going to happen now until Switch 2. They may just be holding those, but and the Metroid Prime 2 and 3 ports, but who knows?
I wonder how much we're going to get the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 kind of thing, where it's just like it's PlayStation 4 enhanced or PlayStation 5 enhanced, but it is just a PlayStation 4 game. Or
I still think it's gonna be that. It's gonna be the point where we're gonna hear people say, like, the reviews for games are gonna be like, yeah, this technically functions on the OG Switch, but it's horrible on it. You need to get
25 frames per second.
Yeah, Call of Duty technically functions, and then that won't change over until I'm sure that won't change over for a year or two. Knowing Nintendo, although Nintendo does, they have dropped consoles very quickly.
I don't think Nintendo will have an issue. It's everyone else having an issue.
Although remember back then, companies wanted developers wanted Nintendo to switch over quickly because they can re-release they can re-release games and updates and get new sales. They kind of come out that way. So who knows? But Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Music, it's kind of fun. We've been listening to it. We're a big Splatoon family, and that Splatoon music is so good. Splatoon and Animal Crossing, really, those two soundtracks they're just bangers, full of bangers. The Splatoon music goes from rock to like hip hop to dancey pop music back to death metal. Like weird, it's so good. It's got
like weird idol EDM.
There was one other little news story that I wanted to cover, if this will load up, and that is the little game console the Playdate has announced season 2. Remember, they extended their season 1, which was like 2 halves of like 6, so like 12 games total or something like that for season 1. And on season 2, about a dozen games next year, 2025. They had their Panic Playdate event thingy the other day, Playdate update, which is cool. Like, hit the play button here. We can sort of watch it. So Playdate is get away from freaking ads. Playdate has been just a terrific little console. I take it out every once in a while and mess around with it. And I've like done some very light game dev using their online tool, and it's neat. And it's consistently amazing. I'm sure these games don't make a lot of money, obviously, because you're really just kind of putting games out to. This is Engadget, by the way. You're putting games out there just to do some stuff in the background. I can't imagine they're making a ton of sales.
I think most people are making their money off of itch.io releases.
Yes.
Anyone that's making money off of this is making it off of itch.io or being paid by Panic to be in the season pass.
Yes. Yep. That's it. I mean, they have their online store, and I bought some things from their online store. Like there are some really fun, simple games. There was the Mars one, which I talked about before.
Yeah.
The bird watching one is actually they're simple. And
what's the? I forget what
these. They're almost like.
Did you ever play the?
Go ahead.
Did you ever play the bear tap or whatever the hell?
Yeah,
it's called?
I was just going to mention that. Yeah, they're like somewhere between the root beer tap thingy and between mobile games and Rhythm Heaven shorts, WarioWare things. So they're like kind of in that zone. They're quick little.
Listen, I found a Picross game on there and immediately bought it.
Yeah, dude, me too. There's like full on apps in there. There's like music apps. There's a bunch of other stuff. So people have done.
I got this wonderful app that's a music box, like little the music app. You can create your own and use the crank to just do like you want to play the entertainer. Simple, there you go.
Such a fun little device, and kudos to them for making it. Again, I like the simplicity of just being able to plug this sucker into your computer and open up a window, and you can actually watch on the screen on your computer. It's just so simple to do that.
By the last day of PAX, they were completely sold out of Playdates because they were selling them. Sorry, I bought mine. I bought that with the little pizza case.
Yeah, you get the pizza. That case is really picked it up.
And like, yeah, it was completely sold out by that day.
Yeah.
Like people are starved for the play date, like to sell to sell out at a major conventions.
Yeah.
Pretty
It's still amazing to me that they've only done the one color, just the yellow play date. Like, give me a few other colors, like poppy colors. Give me like a bright red or a lime green or something.
It's just unfortunately, it's the branding. You like.
Yeah.
They know they're not going to switch away from that. They're just giving you different color cases at this point. They've only got 3.
I guess.
They got pizza, teal, and green, and you know they still have that desktop accessory that's
they canceled it. They canceled it. They just announced that they've put that on hold because they couldn't get it together.
Yeah, I was following the production of it, and they just they got it back, and they're like, "Whoa, this sucks." I'm sure they're going to circle. They're sure they're going to circle back around to it, but they just.
I don't know. Their statement like a couple days ago pretty much sounded like, "Yeah, we're done working on this thing. Somebody else can make it."
Yeah.
But the playdate is a good enough size where you can put it in your pocket and take it with you into a bathroom at work. So playdate's great. Just don't talk about cranking it at the office because it comes off as really, really weird when you say that. Let's stop talking about news because that was it. There's not much this week. Talk about some of the games, and I want to get into, since we have the man of the hour, the human of the hour, Sam, with us. He's been playing a game and using a thing. We're talking about the game first. And this game is on, I think, was it on the Switch that you got this code for?
Yes.
Okay. And it's called Hatch Tales. And it's by Atui.
Yes. Bless you. So, Hatch Tales, a game that I didn't necessarily know anything about beforehand, but we were offered a code, so jumped at the opportunity. I'm a big character action platformer guy, so as you're seeing if you're watching the video, Hatch Tales, side-scrolling action platformer. It's funny that we mentioned Yoshi's Story. It's really the, I guess, closest thing I would compare it to, other than you're not trying to save a child, obviously. But there are power-ups in the stages that affect the way that, not really the way you look, but the way that you move through the stage and, achieve different goals, basically. It's very interesting. First of all, there is a lot of game here.
Really?
Sort of broken up in the same sort of Mario style, like World 1-1, 2-1, whatever, stuff like that. And there is quite an amount of worlds. I've played for a few hours now, and I wouldn't even say that I'm like 3/4 of the way through. It's like quite involved. A lot of stages to get through, but a lot of like fun different puzzles. The base mechanic is a jump and a hook shot. The hook shot moves about like 4 or 5 squares. And it's basically just your routes are sort of planned down through the stages. There's 100 of these sort of like diamond coin things that you're trying to achieve or trying to acquire throughout the stage. And then stages also have these other tokens that sort of look like a flame symbol. And there's a different assortment of them throughout there. And then there's a couple of stages. As you mentioned, this is developed by Atui. They also made games like Pounds. And there's a couple of like sort of reference stages and call outs to those games as well. Pretty interesting. It is a fun game. The levels are pretty challenging to get through. Good mixture of both challenge and difficulty, while also having like a sort of easier path to get through. So if you're not looking to collect all the collectibles throughout the stage, and there's a lot of it. There is an incredible amount to play. Plays great on the Switch, the perfect sort of like portable game. And if you're noticing with the art, it is kind of looking like a mobile game. And that's where I'm going to say is like my experience of playing it stops. All right. And now we're transition into a little bit more interesting things about Hatch Tales. Because I to kind of give as much background information and facts as I can while we're talking about games here. I did a little research because I hadn't known anything about the game. Also needed to know what the price is. It's $20. And I only bring that up because this game was a Kickstarter game. It's my understanding. And it was kickstarted 6 years ago.
Wow.
And it was supposed to come out then, that year. It's my understanding. This is also a semi-remake and relaunch of a game called Wing Tales, I think it was. It was a 3D or a DS game. And it was backed. It took a while to come out, but here it is.
Chicken Wiggle. Was it Chicken Wiggle?
Chicken Wiggle. Yes, thank you.
Chicken Wiggle.
It's interesting because there's the art is simplistic, but it's fitting for the game, and it works. It's in service. It works well. It's not like the art lies to you that your character is actually like 3 spaces off or something like that. But at the same time, for 6 years, and it seems like there wasn't a bunch of updates. It maybe is a little simplistic. Kind of just looks like a mobile game.
It definitely looks like a character design from a game from 6 years ago. So that it makes sense now.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's like I can't at all tell you that you should support that sort of behavior from a developer. I would, maybe do your own research on that. But as the experience of playing it, my only complaint is the art style is pretty simplistic, but otherwise it's a very fun game.
Everything looks really big on the screen.
Yeah.
That's that mobile standpoint.
Yes, and I think that's the thing.
3DS size, yeah.
Is presentation wise, it looks like you are playing like some like Switch shovelware that that has found its way, had found its way from the iOS store and is now on Switch for $20, and you're like, oh. But then, like, as playing it, like, as somebody who didn't know the price while I was playing it, like, it is a very like good game. It's certainly not going to be up there with the likes of Super Mario Wonder, or even like a 3D game like the Sonic Generations that just came out. But what's here is a very good package. I think it's your good secondary game, or if you're like waiting for your next like sort of action platformer, if you're more of an indie action platformer and you've played that big catch game this year.
Sort of palate cleansing is what you're saying. It's
it's not every game needs to look like super 4K mind-blowing graphics. He doesn't have to have every individual feather flapping.
Is he done in Unreal Engine 5? I mean, I'd really want to know.
I actually don't. I think it's in Unity. I think the Unity logo comes out, but I'm not quite sure. But,
where's the realism in this?
Yeah. And I didn't experience any problems while playing it. Like, the controls are super tight. The only sort of performance hitch I saw is the like initial like sort of story video that didn't load very well, which is interesting because on their YouTube channel they have like the story trailer like 4K or like a 1080p 60, which is something that I don't feel like you need to call out on YouTube anymore unless there's a question of whether that is actually what I'm witnessing. So I don't know on that, but I honestly would suggest this if you're looking for a 2D platformer, and again, you've played your Mario Wonders, you've played those sort of like 2D games, 2D action character platformers that have come out recently. Like, you got $20, catch it on a sale. The Kickstarter went okay, and they were obviously able to develop it and get it out after that amount of time. So, I'm sure they need to charge that $20, so maybe it won't go on sale anytime soon. But hey, if it does, grab it.
Yeah, cool. You've also been looking at a product.
Yes, something.
So we talked a little about Nintendo music earlier. This is another Nintendo sound thing.
Yeah, and a Nintendo sound device that you would think would already have Nintendo Music on it, which it does, but I mean the service, the Alarmo.
Alarmo, you say?
Yeah, I don't want to Alarmo anybody, but the music playing device that they did release, the Nintendo Alarmo. And you're thinking, Sam, why as an adult did you want the Alarmo? And the answer would be, I don't really know why. I saw that Nintendo announced a thing and you needed to be a Nintendo member to get it. And I went, yeah. And it was in my cart and I got an email before I knew it. I like blacked out and ordered it.
That's amazing.
I will say the one thing that did interest me in it is the hourly chimes. I was like, okay, like the hourly thing would be cool. And you know what? They sure are cool. Especially, I work at a university that has a clock tower. And every hour, well, actually, every 15 minutes, it chimes. And you can tell by where in the song, you know, how long the song plays, where in the hour it is.
Sure.
And then at the top of the hour, it chimes, you know, for how many times an hour. And just like that, this alarm for like, hey, it's 6 o'clock and your Pikmin clock is up. Well, then it's going to play the Pikmin like whistle to whistle all your Pikmin. And then it's going to make 6 Pikmin pulling sounds. And then that's going to be it. And that's your hourly charm. And that's great. And that is a thing that I would love to have playing in my household. But it scares the absolute shit out of my cats. And to the point that like, my one cat has anxiety issues and his like safe space is my bed. And that is where my Alarmo is because of course it is. And that thing went off and he shot out of that room every hour on the dot. And that was the last time that I got to use that. So for about 3 hours, I got to use those chimes and they were very cute. But that'll be it. And I can't use the sensor function because, like most adults, I am in a relationship and a partnership, and it only tracks one person. And as I mentioned, those cats are also in bed with me, and they move. So, yeah, so it's basically a very nifty clock that occasionally Mario runs around like a drunkard on. Yeah, I'm really hoping that they allow you to start using it as a Bluetooth speaker or any other function, because I'm going to be honest, I have no idea why I own this. Other than I will say it does work as an alarm clock because, of course, it does. Like, if it didn't do its base function, I don't think they'd get away with charging $20 for this.
Does it work? Like, does it actually like scan you as you're getting up and keep track of all that, like the motion stuff? I know, obviously, when there's 2 people there, it's a little more difficult, or a lot more difficult. But I'm curious about the actual motion sensing part of it.
So I will say that the motion sensing works just fine because it detects, you can't really, if you're watching the video, you can tell that like the little guys running left and right, that's noticing movement to the left or the right of the Alarmo. So like if I'm like crawling into bed, right? Like I'm on the left side of my bed when I'm getting in. So Mario or whoever runs to the left. And when I get in, then he runs to like the middle of the bed and like sits there. And if I get up to go to the bathroom or whatever,
that's interesting. Huh?
Olimar will like blast off into the air, or Mario will jump for coins or jump off the screen or whatever. And then when I come back, you know, rinse, repeat. So that's cool, I guess. I can't really use the like the sleep like functionality because, as I mentioned, my wife actually works 3rd shift, so it's nice that we like there's only one of us, one human sleeping in bed, but the cats must tussle a lot while I'm sleeping, and I just don't realize it because the motion tracking just thinks that I like sprint around in bed for like hours at a time.
That you're an 18-inch person that sprints around your bed.
Yeah, and I don't think I like do that. Like I might shift in my sleep, but I don't think I do it at numerous minutes at a time. So yeah, it's like kind of useless for that. It's really good at sending me a daily message about some function that I can't use for whatever reason. So
a message on the screen there, or
no, so yeah, it does have 2 other buttons. So the dial up top clicks in, and that's how you turn off the alarm in the morning. I have it set 5 minutes before my phone alarm, just so if it doesn't work, but it works by now. I could turn off my phone alarm. I trust it now.
There you go. Yeah.
And then you can twist the dial to select things, and it does have a message button. And those messages, I assume, is how it will let me know when there's new stuff to download. And then there's also a back button that's on there. So somebody has got Doom runing on it.
Yeah, I saw that.
You can
That's
see
pretty
those
funny.
videos online. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest. It's pretty useless. It's $100 digital clock right now. That plays an hour thing. You could take it wherever you want. I could take it to work and use the hourly chimes there if I wanted to. But
you can take it, but you need to have it plugged in, right? It's not like a chargeable battery thing, is it?
Yeah, I mean it's just USB-C.
Yeah.
And it doesn't technically need to be connected to the internet. I don't think it does.
No, but it needs to be plugged in power-wise. Like it doesn't have a chargeable battery.
Do you think people's works don't have power supplies? Like,
no, I'm just saying, like, yeah. I mean,
if it needed connected to the internet, I could see how, like, if you into your IoT department and you were like, hey, Alarmo, they'd go, no. No, I'm sorry, we cannot have your Nintendo alarm clock set up on the network.
On our company's network.
So I got one right here, and I'm gonna give it. No, just kidding. But my daughter, for her birthday, she's picking up presents. Like, what would she like? And we talked about the Alarmo as the video came up. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I'm like, is that something you would want for your birthday? She goes, yeah, I think so. I think that'd be pretty neat. I'm like, okay, cool. She's just turned 15, so she's in her room by herself. It'd be kind of fun to have an alarm. She likes the Splatoon stuff. I'm like, be kind of a neat little thing for her. So she gets it, and she looks at it, and she goes, I actually don't want this anymore. So now I have an Alarmo that she doesn't want anymore. So I'm like, well, I can't really return it. I don't think you can return stuff to the Nintendo store online. But I checked on Marketplace, and these suckers are going for like $125. So maybe I can recoup my cost a little bit from that standpoint. So I have one unopened that we bought for my daughter, and she no longer she decided from the midpoint of October to the end that she didn't want it anymore. So
I will say what frustrates me more than anything about Nintendo Music coming out is just the amount of customization that is on Nintendo Music. But then this Alarmo, the only customization you can have is choose game that you want to play music from. So you could choose Mario or whatever, or choose specific song that you want to play the alarm, or we could do random of all of the games. So I can't set any preferences to be like, hey, I only want to hear like Pikmin and Zelda. Those are the only two games I want to hear, or like Mario and whatever. Or yeah, so like I have to now also occasionally wake up to the Fit or Ring Fit.
Ring Fit.
Like,
hell yeah, let's go.
My favorite game to hear alarms from. Like I have no interest in
bro. Get moving. You're like just yelling at you.
But like I'd like the Pikmin one, but I'd also like Zelda occasionally. Or it would be nice to be like, on Mondays I'd like to wake up to Pikmin because that's like work or whatever. And then on Saturdays I wake up to Mario's the jump up song or whatever, right? But there's no granular customization as that I say as the 34-year-old man. So that's my complaint. I will not be returning it because I have no shame, and I also have no children to try to pretend that I didn't buy it for myself for. So I will be keeping it. Unless they go for $1,000 or something like that, in which case, then yeah, sure. But
then you're like, I'm putting that sucker out there. I hear you. Speaking of Nintendo-ish things, I have been playing a Nintendo-based game, and that is the Pokemon card game. I know a few of us have been playing it. It's neat. It's still really bare bones, but I have found myself, because it's all like, it's obviously gacha focused. That's how you get the different cards, build up your Pokedex, and you have to wait to between opening cards or doing the Wonder Pick, which is like you can, a pack of 5 cards that somebody else has already on their account. You can choose one of those 5. Also, gotcha. There's like a shop. There's a bunch of other stuff. I was gonna try to get this plugged in, but it wasn't working very well. So I'll just share the stupid video from Pokemon themselves. But it's actually been kind of fun, like collecting.
It's a good the card battle mechanic is a good streamlined. It's like it's very early TCG rule set and stuff. Like the setup's the same, but they kind of strip out a lot of the ancillary BS and stuff. Like
it's really just a very basic Pokemon
and
card
it's cool.
battle.
And it's cool that it has a single player and online version of it.
So the online version is great because I can play whoever I want. You could do whatever randos or friends. The single player version is essentially you're playing specific themed decks, and they're meant to kind of teach you the ways of playing and helping you how to figure out setting up specific decks and things like that.
I think
once you get through them, there's no reason to go back.
Well, there's some really cool, like they kind of get lost in the shuffle, but the way they have the bonuses that you can earn playing these solo things, because there's certain like there was one where it's like like I was doing the Master Ball League or whatever, and they have one where it's like, hey, do this one but using a fighting deck, and it's like, well, that's fucking hard.
Expert solo battle.
Like, well, that's hard, because it's like you're making me use a deck that's weak against this type, and it was like, but like it's cool that they're doing it. And I think because everything is like, all that shit's gonna also be refreshed when the next theme comes out.
Like the one they have here. So there's a couple things I again can't see it, but the Pikachu X and Raichu deck in that league is so that's obviously they are an electric lightning focused deck. One of the quests is win this battle with a deck whose Pokemon are only water type, which is tough, because then you're only tough. Sam, okay, we'll get you the friend code there, Sam. But it's like, then you're like, well, crap, how do I survive this if I'm playing against a lightning deck, a lit deck? So those are kind of fun. But again, once you clear out enough of those, like I have cleared out every single one of the they call them step up battles for the different before you get to that expert solo thing, and I've cleared out all the ones in the step up. And I'm in this thing's only been out for like 3-4 days at most. And I'm on the expert solo battle, and I've got the majority of them cleared out. And I still don't have, like, I think I finally hit level 13. Yeah, level 13. But once you built that deck, because a lot of it is it's just the luck of the draw of which card you get and which cards you can get ahead of time, and set up your battle and all that kind of stuff. But it's fun from that standpoint. I do see this going the route of like Marvel Snap, and what I mean by that is different game modes. I see them having, maybe there's a single player mode that has more modernized rule sets, or like the different rule sets, Sam, like the ones we played at PAX East both years. There are just different ways to play this game. I can see those getting dropped in here. Obviously, this has been out for like since the 30th, I think, is when it actually launched. So they're just getting it out to everybody. It's what they said, they've already made like millions of bucks on this thing. It's already been downloaded like 10 million times, and it's very easy to play. But there are a lot of freaking currencies in this for shopping, buying cards, for unlocking stuff. So I think that's going to be something that
do that. You got to do the 2-week premium trial now.
I didn't do that yet. I should. Right.
You get some good bonus stuff.
Should you do it now, or should you wait for like another event like upcoming?
It depends. I'm assuming unless you hate Mewtwo.
I mean, I certainly like Eevee better.
But it's fun. They give you bonus, like there are free bonus picks in that Wonder Pick thing, like every 3-4 hours. It's it's nice.
One of my first pulls was Gengar X card, and I was like, okay, I beat the game. There we go. Fine.
You like got it. I'm sitting at like 200.
Also,
160 unique cards is what I have in my decks.
That's why hasn't this game? How do you guys? I mean, did you use all of your like pool faster juice or whatever?
I didn't use that till like recently. I was like holding on to that and letting the clock tick down, and then I'm like, oh shit.
I feel like I've played a lot. I'm level 6 and you're level 12. That just feels like a lot.
Go through the solo stuff.
Yeah, and like let's see.
I've gives you all the experience points.
I'm level 13 and I've got 144 cards.
I went through all the beginner stuff already. I haven't played the. I just felt like I didn't have enough cards to really play the next stuff. I have 116 cards. Though.
Also, you get you get bonus pulls with that premium thing too. You get like
I didn't realize I had so many of those the hourglass things, and I'm like, oh crap! And so the trick is you wait till that sucker goes to like right now it says I have 2 hours and 56 minutes before I can do my next free pack. You wait till it gets till it flips over from like 301 to 259, because if you do 301, you're using up an extra one of those hourglasses.
Burn through. Just burn through them. It doesn't fucking matter.
I'm at
the exact same level and number of cards as you are, and I just burn through those bad boys.
Yeah, but I still have 20 of those hourglasses left.
I have 60. So
you know what? I'm trying to see, where do I check how many?
Also, I think the tearing the pack open animation is fun. But also I was like, I want to make the cleanest cut possible, and it never happens.
Have you guys seen the alleged way to get like guaranteed good packs or whatever?
Supposedly with the bent corner.
Yeah, the bent corners. If you're like flipping them to the side to look at the card packs or whatever.
Yeah,
you can. I like that you can
playground level stuff, right?
I like that you can flip the pack around, so it's
and
backwards.
It stays flipped.
And when you open it up, it stays flipped. That's very clever. That's a very clever way. I don't like that it doesn't have the exact same sort of Pokemon TCG. Like, no. The rares are supposed to be at the back, and
But it's great. I mean, it's nice, simple. It's a very easy little thing to play. Again, I run out of stuff to do though very quickly.
I'm very glad the one change to the rule set that they did was just sort of basically cut the energy situation out.
Yeah.
You don't have to collect energy. You just kind of get an energy per turn, which I think is the perfect mobile way of doing it. That is terrible for sit down and play, where you just have sort of a bottomless well of energy. You just pick what your energy types are for your deck, and you just get one new one each turn after the setup phase.
Sure.
So like they handled that really well for sort of quick 2-minute battles. I don't know if you ever used the auto battle.
Yeah, it's interesting using the
it's auto, absolutely frustrating, because you just sit there and you're like, what are you doing? What is your problem? Why did you do that? Why did you just
turning it off?
Stopping it, and like, I have to try to correct this now.
It's like when you get like Agatha in Marvel Snap, you're like, well, I'm screwed. But it's it's cool. It's a little Pokemon. It's gonna grow. This sucker's gonna grow over the years as it's out there, because it's actually a very smart. It's a smart app, and
I think
you don't need to buy any physical cards. What was that?
I think this will be the first time where it'll be like a successful app, because it just feels like it's designed to be a mobile game and not trying to shove the TCG into a mobile game. It's just like it's the TCG, but not. And it's
the TCG comes with those cards, the ones that, and I assume those are going to continue to still come for whatever that other service.
Yeah, that's a completely different type of game. That is
I was curious on what they were going to do there. Like, if they were going to make those now like, a scannable thing for this, but it is like that. I feel like they're still trying to make that like the sort of, if you want to if you're a serious TCG player, that's the thing you're playing. Much like Yu-Gi-Oh! And stuff has their sort of like online thing, but this is going to be like
it's a great onboarding. Yeah,
yeah,
it's great onboarding.
It's Pokemon Go, but for the card game, effectively.
Yeah,
like is they're just coming up with new ways to make the different ways to play Pokemon more accessible, which is insane.
I do like that there's Gen 1 art in it. It makes me smile when Fat Pikachu shows up.
Oh, yeah.
And that iconic Meowth card. And this reminds me of the WWE game that I play, the WWE Super Card, where it's just like, there is like, if you really put your brain to it, there is like, I can treat this seriously, but at the same time, you can be just as good just by kind of mindlessly floating through this game and collecting cards and beating people up.
Pokemon TCG Live. That was the other one.
Yeah.
Right? Pokemon I forgot I had that still. Yeah.
I give Zach. I Zach all my card codes.
yeah. I think I drop them in our chat sometime.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, Pokemon. I think Pocket is a good idea, and I hope it. I'm looking forward to seeing it grow. Let's move on to stuff that you've been doing. Let's start with something that's not a game, and then we'll hop into the games.
Okay.
So
I know where you're heading with it.
Yeah, so you have been fortunate enough where you've been able to look at a lot of like non-gamey things, which I think are pretty cool, actually. So I'm gonna we're obviously big on comics here at SideQuesting and graphic novels, and you've managed to look at a Jimi Hendrix "Kiss the Sky" graphic novel here.
Graphic novel, yeah.
Is it full screen, by the way? Now is it?
Yeah. This is like the first page of Jimi Hendrix being born. And it's got a weird title. It's "Kiss the Sky" 1942 to 1970, which is not true for this book. It is 1942 to 1966, because it's supposed to be part one. This is a comic that came out a few years ago. It's a French comic.
Okay.
It goes over. Like, the art is is really the big selling point of this comic. I personally think. But yeah, this covers Jimi Hendrix's life in excruciating detail, from his birth to leaving for the UK in '66. The thing that's always hard to forget is that Jimi Hendrix wasn't Jimi Hendrix for very long. So this whole book is really all of the failures of Jimi Hendrix, really, before he became a superstar in the world of music for, again, a very short while, because it ends in '66, where he goes to Europe, and that's where the experience sort of becomes existing, and Jimi Hendrix becomes sort of a musical superstar, and he dies in 1970. So, there's 4 years of Jimi Hendrix being, less than 4 years, obviously, but, in terms of everything, Jimi Hendrix being a superstar while alive. And in the times leading up to that, was just, Jimi Hendrix did not have a particularly great life. Always constantly poor, kind of failure after failure, relationship disaster after relationship disaster. And this sort of is all of that. It's a beautifully drawn story. Jimi Hendrix's story is, again, very sad during this particular, but you get to see what builds the man that would become Jimi Hendrix, for better and for worse. That sort of that grind set really set him up to be like a superstar, but it also would end up being his downfall, dying at the age of 27 but I don't think the writing of this is particularly great, and I don't know if that's across borders kind of type of thing, but the author tends to insert himself at weird times, like not physically, just like word bubbles and stuff, where like he'll throw in moments of his life that sort of kind of tie in with like the life of Jimi Hendrix and stuff, which is I get it, but it just kind of like you'll be reading a thing and then he'll be like sort of tying into how things weren't as bad for him, and so yeah, it's odd. It's an odd thing to like sort of throw into this book. I'm not saying it's necessarily bad. I think particularly if you don't know anything about Jimi Hendrix, this is a great sort of like first step, like a primer. If you're a music fan, if you're a Jimi Hendrix fan or something, this is a fantastic first steps. It's got a really good at the back of the book, it's also got a really nice sort of like annex of who the people were, the dates and times of certain things that happened and stuff, because you're going to come across a lot of people in here that don't have a lot of time to really explain who they are,
their stories being fleshed out,
because there's a lot of famous people in here that he performed, like Little Richard appears a few times throughout this story, because he's sort of where Jimmy like started really cutting his teeth, was working with him and stuff. And so you have like a lot of these people that just kind of roll in and out, and so to get to the back of the book and sort of gets a little more and like in further reading and stuff, it's kind of a cool way of doing it, because again, you only have so much time. It's not a long book by any stretch of the imagination, but I enjoyed it. I think it's cool. It's not one of the best like biographical graphic novels that I've read, that I'm trying to think of what I could compare it to, because like some of my favorite like biographical like graphic novels would be like the ones that like Box Brown did, the Andre the Giant one, and the Man on the Moon. Why is his name escaping me? The Jim Carrey movie. Andy what
Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman, thank you. Jesus Christ. Like he did like those, and those were really good biographical graphic novels that like had able to have some fun with the character, like who they were, without sort of like taking away from sort of the seriousness of a lot of the stuff that went on in their life. So it's not up there, but it's definitely like a middle ground biographical graphic novel that it's beautiful. The art is absolutely beautiful.
The art is stunning, like the contrast that they're doing.
Yeah.
And really focusing on the line work. It's not a color book, right? It's
no, it's completely black and white. It feels, it doesn't feel like, no part of it feels digital. There's a sort of dirtiness to a lot of the art that I appreciate in it, but does not want to ignore details of people's facial features in particular.
Okay.
Because again, there's a lot of people that just sort of are in this story that don't have, but like you need to be able to identify them, and so you have to draw them really well. And that the artist does a really great job at doing that. I tried to Google after the fact, and I couldn't find any story about part 2 coming out. I would be very interested to see, because part 2 will be, Jimi Hendrix and the Experience, like, and his death, and probably the aftermath of his death and stuff, and some of the stuff that he was doing. So I'll be very interested to see if that ever comes to fruition, because I'd like to check that out too. This is engrossing enough to make me want to finish the story, as a brilliant man once said. Cool. I like getting comic books. I like these biographical comic books that keep coming my way. I got that Mechner one and stuff. It's great.
Now you have been playing some games, and I'm gonna go into a VR game. You played a VR game a couple weeks back. You reviewed it. Now here's one. This is for review. Hitman 3 VR Reloaded.
Hitman VR. It's not. I don't think they call it Hitman 3. Yeah, I guess they do. So yeah, I got this came out a month ago.
Something like that, yeah.
Maybe 2 months ago, maybe September or something. Just got the review code dropped into my account. This is the story of why. Yeah, why. Here's the thing. Hitman is already a VR game. I have played Hitman VR on my MetaQuest 3. It is a thing that exists. You know, I mean, yeah, you have to have it in a PC. You know, all that stuff. You got to have a good PC. The Quest 3 is a great VR headset, and you get to play Hitman 3 proper. This is Hitman 3, but they redesigned the aesthetic completely. Everything looks like a PS2, early PS3 kind of aesthetic. They added dual wielding, which is incredibly odd. You could see it. Just this game doesn't look good. It doesn't perform well.
Oof.
It's really when they sent me, it's like, just keep in mind that we just pushed a big patch through that should alleviate some of the issues that people have been having, and it's like, boy, if this is the fixed version, I would love to. It's janky. It doesn't necessarily the mechanics are all there. It's just poorly done. It's a night and day difference between this, and I've also been playing the Arkham game. You have to compare the two because they're these big AAA experiences. Hitman 3, or now it's like Hitman World of Assassination or whatever
it's called now.
Is absolutely one of my favorite games. I love this Hitman trilogy. I play it all the time. So I was excited. I liked the Hitman 3 VR stuff, but my computer doesn't really perform it that great, but better than this in a lot of cases, which is sad because this is such a visual downgrade. And they're like, it's got a completely unique aesthetic. And I'm like, yeah, and it's bad. It is a bad aesthetic. They're very proud of that. They want to say they rebuilt it from the ground up, but I refuse to believe that. It feels like everything feels exactly the same. It's just poorly optimized in every aspect. So yeah, it's very disappointing. I mean, I'm gonna keep plucking away at it, but yeah, I'm not enjoying especially with Arkham VR is such a it's beautiful. It looks exactly like Arkham Knight. It has intuitive controls that aren't the same as that feel spiritually the same as the main game, but not, but in its own complete VR way. And then you just have this, which is just trying to maintain some semblance of the real game, and it just I applaud the effort, but you just didn't pull it off. And I think it's sitting at a 2.8 on the review scale on the Meta app right now. So people aren't happy with it. So it's a bummer. You've
been also playing a pinball game.
Yeah, got two. That's right. Got two horror things to talk about too. This is Zen's got their new mature rated thing that they've been pumping out some stuff for it, but it's kind of all branded M-rated tables.
Okay.
There's a Chucky table, a Dead Space table, a Thing table, Duke Nukem table, System Shock, and now this is an original table. I'm gonna put an asterisk next to original because this does have all of the feeling of they were unable, because Friday the 13th license is literally impossible to do anything with. They just did their own because it's 100. It's just Friday the 13th. It has a masked killer with a machete at a summer camp with a lake. It's Friday the 13th. I don't know. this is a hard thing to review because it's really good. It's a really good pinball game. It's funny. It's funny to make all like a mature rated pinball game. You know, there's swearing, there's blood, there's horror elements and stuff, and you go through and do all your pinball trappings.
Swinging machete right there.
Swinging machete. There's the lake that the killer like dies in. You know, it's like, you know, it's so neat. It's a bunch of guys having fun with the concept. You can tell, like,
it's gory as heck, man. M-rated is really
it's super cool. It's like it's its own separate, like this doesn't go into the Zen Pinball app. They have Pinball M, which is a great name. It's kind of silly. But like, yeah, you know what? I think it's like we just want to be unleashed and do something kind of off kilter, and they did a good job at it. I really like this table a lot. It's hard to make captivating original content pinball tables sometimes, and sort of conceptually the themed tables that you get with Zen tend to be sort of samey. And I'm not saying that this isn't samey, it's just the aesthetic really carries this particular table. They did a great job with it. I love the gory machete. I love the not Jason killer that's constantly sort of stalking the final girl on the table throughout, and all of the sort of the way they've themed the, you know how pinball tables are, where they have like their weird mini games that you kind of play through and stuff, and theme that stuff. It's just great. This is a fun little excursion in the world of digital pinball. I love digital pinball. Like that's just
digital pinball is such an underappreciated genre.
Yeah, it's like digital pinball and golf are like two powerhouse game genres that like doesn't get the outspoken respect that they truly deserve. Like, but like everyone loves them. But no, it's just like they're comfort food. They're just off there.
Sure.
They're always going to be there for you. You can always go back to a good pinball table was your favorite. You know, Space Cadet pinball is always there and always good. It may not come packed in windows anymore, but high quality.
Speaking of going back, you went back to the Game Boy era.
I did. This is one that I personally went down. Incubate Games.
Okay.
Put out some classic Game Boy stuff. So this is a collection of 3 horror games for the Game Boy. Into one. They're selling the ROMs, but you can also get it in a cartridge form. So they have like a limited. There's the one that you had to order by Halloween. It's past Halloween, so sorry, you've lost out on the on the red one. If you want, and just 3 little horror games. I have my own Game Boy that I didn't need the cartridge.
There it is.
So I got my Game Boy that it's going on there. I have a flash cart, so I was
gonna say, so you just load these up onto the flash cart.
I just loaded on the flash cart, and it's hard to. Yeah, you can see there's the.
See it there somewhere. Loading up.
Yeah, it's loading up. There's the guy, right there. You know, it's cool. It's cool. There's the Possum Country loading screen. When you choose your game, it has Game Boy carts for the 3 games that you choose.
Oh, like that's the user interface. Okay, got it.
Yeah, Possum Country is more of a visual novel than anything. There's very little gameplay in it. It's more just a horror story that you kind of interact with. Sort of same with Decline. You're an old, on the verge of retirement detective who has to solve a murder, and it plays with a lot of like ageist thoughts on top of like it also plays into the governmental Polybius arcade machine mind control nonsense and stuff, and it's a really neat story that has sort of choices that you can make and get different answers and stuff. It's kind of fascinating. The third game, Specimen 132 or something, it's definitely more of the traditional game. It's the one that has like a save feature. Specimen 134.
Specimen 134. Okay,
that's close. But yeah, it's definitely more full featured of the games. But it's also very. These are all very good. These are all. They're not long.
That's
but,
good.
It really is just like it's like a little Halloween treat.
I think again, we've been talking about how great of a year it's been for the last couple of years, especially, but this year, indie horror stuff has really become this phenomenal genre.
I want to say in particular, Decline does some really cool visual tricks, and you do get like flashing seizure warnings kind of stuff because of the Polybius stuff that ties into it stuff. And he does a really good job at sort of doing the game. Like the game becomes more corrupted as you play along, and it's weirder stuff starts happening. And it's got some, you see some of the art, some of the effects pop up jump scare kind of effects. And the art is beautiful in all of these. It's all really creepy and weird. Yeah, it's a great little Game Boy Color. People are doing some amazing stuff. Again, this is a legit, like there's some impressive stuff that's going on with, like, look at all of it running on. All this is running on hardware. There's no like tricks. It's not like it's a game. Like the flashing in the glasses and stuff is absolutely an impressive.
It's why, like, you think back to
no Game Boy Color is doing that.
Tetris and Super Mario Land, and that's where we started from with Game Boy Color.
These games are doing stuff that, like with the cutscenes and stuff that you don't see in actual of the time Game Boy Color releases. So it's really impressive to see some of this stuff, and it's going to appear again soon. But that scene right here, it's an impressive scene for a Game Boy Color.
Totally.
So yeah, and like I said, running on original hardware. I'm running this bad boy off of original hardware, and it runs great. It's just so I check it out.
Metamorphosis Collection.
Metamorphosis Collection, Incubate Games. The 8 Incubate. It's like it's the number. Yeah, Incubate. Yeah, it's they have a lot of. I've tried some of the demos of other stuff that's on the website. They have some really cool Game Boy games that you can load up and play now.
Nice.
So yeah, bravo, great game.
Cool. And that's basically it. Oh, of course, Zero says we do love to see it.
We do love to see it.
And we love to see ourselves getting ready to go to sleep because it's actually 11:38 in my time. That hour difference, that's hitting me right now. Holy shit. Like all of a sudden it's like bam, knock me out. Daylight saving. If I only had that Alarmo, I would have had plenty of energy. That open.
Weird. Another thing that you bought and won't open. Crazy.
No, this one I'll probably, I don't know. I'll probably, I don't think I can return it. Anyways,
I'm sure you can return it, but
but I probably have to pay for the stupid. Well, the shipping was free. I'll have to see. We'll figure that out. More importantly, though, thank you, Sam. Thank you, JJ, for a lovely evening, a lovely Sunday night talking video games. We shall do this again, hopefully very soon. You can find us again, sidequesting.com, sidequesting TV on YouTube and Twitch, and all those socials. And last but not least, go vote. Seriously, it is
literally looked like Tuesday. You were pulling a condom up into the frame before the lighting.
That would be badass. Like I voted condoms. There's an idea. There's an idea. See y'all in the next episode of The Side Quest. Get your sleep. Thank you.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
Bye. Goodbye. See you.